Our next speaker is Kodee Goseyun, Kim Whitley, Jesse Chanley, Lisa Green, Sylvia Allen, Louise Lidgett, Jerry Hubbard, Jandi Craig, Marian Joseph, Randy Ruther.
Hello, my name is Kodee Goseyun from the San Carlos Apache tribe. I'm here on behalf of Chairman Terry Rambler, Chairman Newberg, Vice Chairman Watchman, and Commissioners. On behalf of the 17,000 members of the San Carlos Apache tribe, thank you for the opportunity to host this important event and to provide comments on above draft redistricting maps. In response, please accept this letter as the tribe's public comment as it pertains to the community of interest that make up the currently proposed Legislative District 6 and Congressional District 2 as set forth in Legislative Test Map version 10.0 and Congressional Test Map version 7.1 respectively. Briefly, the tribe believes that any proposal to revise district boundaries from the prior redistricting cycle by fractionating the existing community of interest shared among the 7 tribes and their homelands will have an adverse impact by diluting their current voting strength. Moreover, revising district boundaries should splinter and dilute the community of interest shared among tribes and tribal members who live off reservation in nearby cities and towns. Therefore, it is absolutely imperative that the Commission maintain a robust Native American majority minority legislative district capable of electing its preferred candidates into office. The San Carlos Apache Tribe's reservation is a community of interest. The San Carlos Apache Tribe is a community of interest with the White Mountain Apache Tribe and the Navajo Nation and other rural tribes in northeastern and northwestern Arizona. We continue to have concerns about the inclusion of Flagstaff in the proposed Legislative District 6, as discussed below. Under the Voting Rights Act, our tribal members are entitled to a district that gives us the opportunity to elect candidates of our choice. If the Commission were to include Flagstaff in Legislative District 6, it could prevent us from electing candidates of choice into the legislature. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Whitley. I've lived almost my entire life in Arizona. Currently, I reside just down the road in Lakeside. I have a 9-year-old son who will be old enough to vote before these maps expire. My family understands that these maps will have long-term consequences for ourselves and for all Arizonans. We are alarmed by the number of uncompetitive districts, both Democrat and Republican leaning, in the proposed draft maps. Competitive districts are essential to rural areas that are often difficult and expensive to canvass. We need competitive maps to ensure that candidates engage meaningfully with all their constituents. These maps would create an environment where candidates are elected by the dominant party's primary. This leaves zero incentive for candidates to engage with our local communities, respond to our specific needs, or amplify the voices of the significant percentage of Indigenous people in our region. These maps eliminate the need to campaign, and with that, they eliminate a natural buffer against extremism. I want to be represented by candidates who desire my vote, who care about the people here, and who understand that all communities in rural Arizona deserve consideration. We believe that CD2 in particular will fail to produce this type of candidate. The lack of competition does a disservice to everyone, regardless of party or lifestyle. We'd ask that the Commission redraw this district and adopt the Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission map CDF-010. Thank you for your time, for this opportunity to comment, and for your effort on this critical endeavor.
Good evening. My name is Jesse Chanley. I live in Navajo County, just outside of Charlotte city limits. I teach political science for Arizona State University, and one of the biggest problems we have is voter apathy and citizen apathy. And that apathy is increased when we have uncompetitive races. And so I would really encourage you to create more competitive districts, both at the congressional and the legislative level. Currently, the districts I would be in would be won every time by a single party. Is not a situation that encourages participation. So I would encourage you to Consider the maps offered by the Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission for the congressional districts, the CDF 010, and the legislative districts proposed by the Coconino County Board of Commissioners, Board of Supervisors, LDF 050 for District 7 and LDF 051 for District 6. Thank you.
My name is Jandi Craig. I'm a member of the White Mountain Apache tribe, and I appreciate living in Pinetop. But my work, my homestead, and my family are on the Fort Apache Reservation. The White Mountain Apache tribe is a community of interest with the cities of Pinetop, Lakeside, and Show Low. Tribal members like myself living in nearby towns such as Pinetop and Show Low should not be excluded from the proposed LD6. My children, along with many other tribal children, attend school at Blue Ridge and Show Low schools. Buses transport our children to and from the reservation to these schools daily. We would like for these school districts to remain in the same legislative district. We propose that the Native American majority minority district be as close as possible to the district that was created in the last redistricting cycle. CD2 is 22% Native American. Voter registration increased this past election, including a 12% increase of Democratic voters in Native American communities. Under the Voting Rights Act, our tribal members are entitled to a district that gives us the opportunity to elect candidates of our choice. Including Pinetop, Show Low, Springerville, and CD2 would allow us to elect candidates of choice. In 2004, Native American voters were unable to elect their candidate of choice in the only Native American majority minority district in the state because Flagstaff voters mobilized to defeat the Native American candidate of choice. When the district was redrawn after 2010, the Native American majority minority district excluded Flagstaff. Flagstaff has grown by over 18% since the last census, a much higher rate than any of the off-reservation border towns in northern Arizona. This means that Native Americans will likely lose the majority during the decade and further to be impacted from electing candidates of choice if they are kept with the whole city of Flagstaff. Native Americans are the most underpopulated race in the census. Arizona is ranked #1 in the US with the highest number of American Indians and Alaska Natives living in hard-to-count census tracts, with 68.1% of the state's Native population living in hard-to-count areas. Poverty, lack of broadband services, housing insecurity, language barriers, and the pandemic further increases the risk of the 2020 census undercounted Arizona's Native American population. The Voting Rights Act instructs the IRC to use its lawful discretion to protect the interests of the only Native American majority-minority legislative district in Arizona. The Commission should deviate greater from the target population due to this undercount in order to create a strong Native American majority-minority district. The US Supreme Court has affirmed that total population deviations of 10% or less are presumptively constitutional, and population deviations greater than 10% may be justified by a legitimate state interest, such as preserving a strong Native American majority-minority legislative district. The Commission should underpopulate the Native American district more in order to maintain a strong Native American majority-minority district under the VRA as a strong interest. We do not support the draft map and request the maps to remain as close to current maps as possible. Thank you. Ahea.
Good evening. My name is Marian Quintero. I am a member of the White Mountain Apache tribe. I'm here to represent my community. As a member of the White Mountain Apache, it is important for my nation to have a good relationship with our congressional person and all elected leaders. At the state and federal level, the government-to-government relationship is critical for protecting tribal sovereignty and allows us as White Mountain Apache people to successfully manage our nation, because what is ultimately decided by policy for funding elections and much more directly impacts our daily life. The current draft map of CD2 is diluting our Native American vote, and it's disheartening, and it concerns me as a tribal member. I'm concerned that the congressional draft map, CD2, has changed my district from being highly competitive to being a Republican district. I know that every vote in my current district counts, and I have seen my congressional representative work hard to make sure that all the issues of my community and many other communities addressed. Our current representative worked hard for everyone and on and off the tribal lands. If the Republicans are given a chance to consistently win elections without having to work for every constituent and genuinely include communities like mine, I know that our voting power will be diminished and that I will not have the same quality of representation I have right now. Adding more Republicans to my district by redrawing the map to. Thank you.